Today we will be dealing with the unit 1, Earth Dynamics, in which the first lesson is land and sea formation and distribution. And in this lesson, we will be dealing with the origin of the Earth. Our planet is very beautiful and is called as Mother Earth. There are many concepts, hypotheses and theories to unravel the riddle of the problems of the origin and the evolution of solar system in general and the Earth in particular. Few questions that strikes our mind and increase the curiosity are related to the evolution of the Earth. There are few Earth, like how the Earth has come into existence, what are the various theories that can explain the origin of the Earth, how the twinkling stars are formed like Earth, and there are any other planets. Our solar system consists of 8 planets and the Earth is the only living planet. Keeping this perspective in view, the objectives of this lesson is to 1. Bring out some background information about the solar system. 2. To study the role of Earth as a member of solar system. 3. To understand how the Earth came into existence. The 4th one is, what are the various theories that explain the origin of the Earth? The Earth is a member of a group of celestial bodies called as solar system. The solar system comprises of the Sun and the celestial bodies revolving around it. The solar system is a family of 8 planets and satellites and the asteroids. The Earth on which we live is one of the planets of the solar system. The planets revolve around the Sun in an elliptical orbit. The planets shine only by the reflected light of the Sun. Copernicus was the first scholar to put forth the view that Sun is the center of the solar system. This view is known as heliocentric view. According to scholars, the Earth was the center of the solar system. This view is called as geocentric view. The solar system is just one of the members of the solar system. The stars are the hot and luminous bodies in the universe. They emit heat and light. Solar system is just one of the members of the star system. The stars are hot and luminous bodies in the universe. They emit light due to their high temperature. A cluster of stars is called as galaxy. Our solar system is a part of a galaxy called as Milky Way. Most of the stars are large in size but appear small due to their great distance from the Earth. The star closest to the Earth is Proxima Centauri. Our solar system consists of the Sun, which is the star, and 8 planets and their satellites and asteroids and comets. Out of these 8 planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars are called as inner planets or the terrestrial planets, whereas Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune are called as outer Jovian or gas planets. Most of the outer planets are much larger than the terrestrial planets and have thick atmosphere, mostly of hydrogen and helium. Till recently, that is August 2006, Pluto was also considered as a planet. The origin of the Earth and the solar system aroused curiosity since ancient times. A number of hypotheses have been put forth from time to time to explain the origin of the Earth. Many of the hypotheses are speculative, while others are based on observation. The scientific hypothesis trying to explain the origin of the Earth and the solar system can be broadly grouped into following categories. The monistic or single parent hypothesis. These theories are based on the assumption that solar system has originated from a single and the only heavenly body was involved in the origin of the earth. The theories put forth by Kant and Laplace is few such examples of such hypothesis. Dualistic or biparental hypothesis. These theories explain the origin of the earth and the solar system as a result of coming together of two stars or two heavenly bodies are involved in the origin of the earth. Theories put forth by Jeans and Jeffries, Chamberlain, Moulton are examples of such hypothesis. Trihybrid hypothesis. In this hypothesis, more than two heavenly bodies are involved in the origin of the earth. For example, binary star hypothesis of Russell. Based on the scientific conceptual outlook or sound scientific principle, the origin of the solar system and the earth can be divided into two schools. The first one, the hot origin concept, and the second one is the cold origin concept. According to hot origin concept, our solar system and the earth believed to have been formed from the matter which was initially hot and heated up in the process of the origin of the earth or solar system. The cold origin concept. The origin of the solar system was formed from the matter which was either initially cold or was cooled down in the process of the origin of the earth. First one is nebular hypothesis of Kant. Immanuel Kant, 1724 to 1804, the German philosopher, was the propounder of nebular hypothesis. His hypothesis about the origin of the earth was based on Newtonian law of rotatory motion. Kant postulated his gaseous hypothesis of the origin of the earth on the basis of certain assumption. He assumed that supernaturally created primordial hard matter was scattered in the universe. He conceived the concept of nebula, which according to him is the primeval or primitive slowly rotating cloud of matter comprised of cold, solid, motionless particles. The cold matter was initially static or motionless. He further assumed that the particles began to collide against each other under the gravitational attraction. The mutual attraction and collision between the particles generated random motion in the primordial matter. Collision of particles also generated friction, which generated heat, with the result the temperature of the primordial matter started increasing. He further stated that the random motion of the particles also generated rotatory motion in the primordial matter. Thus, the original cold, motionless cloud of matter became hot nebula, started spinning or rotating around its axis. With the increase in temperature, the motion as well as the rate of collision among the particles also increased. The rise in the temperature also changed the state of primordial matter from solid gaseous particles. Initial primordial matter gradually changed in hot rotating nebula. With continuous rise in temperature and rate of rotatory motion, the nebula started expanding in size. Due to continuous increase in the size of the nebula, the rotatory speed became so fast that the centrifugal force, according to Immanuel Kant, as the heat increased, the size of the nebula increased, and as the size of the nebula increased, the angular velocity and the rotatory speed further increased. The nebula started spinning so fast and irregular ring was separated from the middle of the nebula and was separated from the nebula and was thrown out due to the centrifugal force. By the repetition of the same process, concentric rings, that is 9 planets, were separated from the nebula. By the repetition of the same process, rings were separated from the newly formed planets and the materials of each ring were condensed to form satellites, the various planets. The residual matter of the nebula, the residual center mass of the nebula remained as the Sun. It is in this manner that, in the opinion of Kant, the entire solar system originated. Kant's nebular hypothesis suffers from a number of shortcomings. The theory assumes that the mutual collision of particles of the primaroidal matter resulted in the generation of rotational movement. This assumption is against the principle of conservation of angular movement. The assumption of increasing rotational velocity of the nebula with its increasing size is also against the law of mathematics. Generally, it is seen that the speed of the rotation should decrease with an increase in the size of the nebula. It was one of the basic assumptions of this theory that there was a primaroidal universe, but he never explained the source of the origin of the primaroidal matter. This theory does not explain the source of the energy to cause the random motion of the particles of the primaroidal matter, which were cold and motionless in the initial stage. Collision among the particles of the primaroidal matter can never generate rotatory movement. The importance of the Kant's hypothesis lies in the fact that it was the first scientific attempt for the explanation of the origin of the Earth. In fact, Kant's hypothesis paved the way for the postulation of nebular hypothesis by Laplace. Laplace was a French mathematician, propounded his nebular hypothesis in the year 1796. Laplace's nebular hypothesis was in some way similar to the gaseous hypothesis of Kant. Laplace's hypothesis is the modified version of Kant's hypothesis. Laplace postulated the hypothesis after removing some of the erroneous concept of the Kant related to the nature and motion of the primaroidal matter. He assumed that there was a huge and hot gaseous nebula rotating on its axis in the space. The nebula was continuously cooling due to the loss of heat from the outer surface through the process of radiation due to the circular motion or the rotation of the nebula. The nebula was thus continuously reducing in size due to the contraction and cooling. Gradually, cooling and contraction of nebula resulted into continuous decrease in the size of nebula. Reduction in the volume of nebula increased the circular velocity or rotatory motion of the nebula. As the size of the nebula continues to decrease, the rotatory velocity decrease, the velocity of rotatory motion continued to increase. Thus, the nebula started spinning very fast speed. Consequently, centrifugal force became so great that it exceeded the centripetal force. The material at the equator of the nebula became weightless. Consequently, the outer layer was condensed due to the excessive cooling, and so it could not rotate with the still cooling contracting central nebula central nucleus of the nebula. Thus, the outer ring or the layer was separated from the remaining part of the nebula. This separated ring of the material started moving around the nebula. According to Laplace, only one ring of material was separated from the nebula, which planets came into existence, and not 9 rings as conceived by Immanuel Kant. According to this theory, the Earth and other planets were first in gaseous state. Later, they passed through molten stage and finally developed a solid crust. The increase in temperature in the interior of the Earth and the process of volcanicity supports this view. However, later in the later period, this theory attracted a lot of criticism. The first criticism is regarding the condensing of the gaseous rings. It was argued that any gaseous mass would condense in a large number of fragments rather than in the form of one planet. Laplace assumed that an increasing angular velocity with increasing mass, but the angular velocity depends upon the factors like size and the spin and the weight, and not only on the mass. Hence, greater the size, the greater would be the angular velocity. But in this theory, it is seen that planets have a greater angular velocity than the Sun. According to nebula hypothesis, all the satellites would revolve in the same direction of their planets. But contrary to this observation, a few satellites of Saturn and Jupiter revolved in opposite direction of their father planet. James, Jeans and Jeffreys. James postulated certain assumptions based on Newton's law of universal gravitation. According to Newton's law of universal gravitation, every body in the universe attracts every other body with a force which is directly proportional to the product of masses of two bodies. This hypothesis is one of the modern theories of the origin of the Earth and the solar system. Jeans postulated his hypothesis on the basis of some axioms or self-proved facts, which are as follows, which are like: in the beginning there was the Sun and the intruding star, which was much bigger than the Sun. The solar system was formed from the Sun and another intruding star, which was another star termed as intruding star in the universe. This intruding star was much bigger than the size of the primitive Sun. The primitive Sun was stationary and was rotating on its axis. The intruding star was moving along in such a way that it was destined to come nearer to the primitive Sun and thus exerted gaseous tidal force or gravitational pull on the surface of the primitive Sun. Since the intruding star was coming closer to the primitive Sun, the amount of gravitational force between them was also increasing. With the result, the tidal force also increased. When the intruding star came nearest to the Sun or the primitive Sun, its gravitational force became maximum. There was a great impact of the tidal force of the intruding star on the surface of the Sun. Due to the massive gravitational attraction of the intruding star, huge amount of matter was ejected from the primitive Sun. When the gravitational force was maximum, a giant cigar-shaped mass of matter of thousands of kilometers in the length was ejected from the outer surface of the primitive Sun. Jeans called this cigar-shaped matter as filament, which was broader in the center and narrow at the end. The shape of the filament or the ejected matter from the surface of the primitive sun, which was characterized with broader or wider middle portion and tapering ends, attributed to the following reasons. When the intruding star was at distance from the primitive sun, it could not exert great gravitational pull on the surface of the primitive sun. The gravitational pull exerted by the intruding star on the surface of the primitive sun was minimum. Therefore, small quantity of incandescent matter came out of the surface of the primitive sun due to the greater distance between them. When the intruding star came nearest to the sun, maximum amount of gravitational attraction was exerted by the intruding star on the surface of the primitive sun due to its minimum distance between them. The tidal or the gravitational attraction resulted into ejection of maximum amount of incandescent matter, which represented the middle portion of the filament. When the intruding star moved away from the sun, the gravitational pull or attraction exerted by the intruding star on the primitive sun became low due to the greater distance between them. Thus, a small quantity of incandescent matter comes out of the surface of the primitive sun. Thus, the matter which is ejected from the primitive sun took a cigar shape, which James Jeans called as filament. Gradually, the intruding star moved away from the sun. The primitive sun went out of the gravitational field of the intruding star. The filament was detached from the primitive sun and it followed the intruding star. The filament tried to keep pace with the intruding star for some distance. After some, the filament started revolving around the primitive sun. According to James Jeans, 9 planets of solar system were formed due to cooling and condensation into several pieces, and each piece was condensed to form one separate planet. The filament of the incandescent gaseous matter allowed bigger planets to form in the middle and broader portion like Jupiter and Saturn, and the smaller planets towards the tapering ends. The satellites of the planets were formed due to the gravitational pull and the tidal effect exerted by the sun on the outer surface of the planet. The arrangement of the planets formed out of the filament clearly matches with the present planetary arrangement of our solar system. If we start from the sun, the size of the planets like Mercury, Venus, Earth increases up to Jupiter, which is the biggest planet and almost occupies the central portion of the solar system. The size of the planets after Jupiter, like Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, again decreases in size. Tidal hypothesis did not explain whereabout and the destiny of the intruding star, which caused tidal eruption on the surface of the sun in the form of a filament. The angular momentum exerted by the intruding star on the planets was not enough to match the existing angular movement of the planets of our solar system. Thirdly, the assumption that small planets were condensed to form within the short period of time, and hence there was no time for the ejection of matter from these planets, does not appear sound. In this session, we tried to understand the basic conceptual background about the solar system, as Earth is the member of the solar system. There are a number of views that were put forth regarding the evolution of the Earth. According to some scholars, solar system was originated from a single star or only one heavenly bodies. Theories put forth by Kant and Laplace belongs to this category. Both Kant and Laplace conceived the idea of nebula as the primordial matter in the origin of the Earth. The tidal hypothesis given by Jeans and Jeffreys are biparental in origin. The tidal hypothesis theory is related to the Sun and the intruding star, which is much larger than the primitive Sun. The gravitational pull of the intruding star on the surface of the Sun is responsible for the formation of planets. Tidal hypothesis not only provided explanation regarding the evolution of the Earth, but also gave an explanation regarding the arrangement of the present day planets. In the subsequent station on the origin of the Earth, we will be dealing with some more theories on the origin of the Earth.